Instagram page like this with millions of followers which just don't make almost any money and can't monetize their page. Meanwhile, me with just a couple 100,000 followers, I've monetized my pages so effectively. I was able to buy my dream car at just age 17. I'm not saying this to flex. I'm showing you this so you actually know I've gotten legit results. And so monetizing a faceless page was hard until I understood these four concepts I'm about to show you now. The first concept is nurture. Now, nurture, this is a big one which a lot of pages skip over when they're trying to monetize. Whether you're trying to sell a digital product, whether you're trying to promote a newsletter, promote some kind of affiliate, smart, like whatever it is that you're trying to promote, a lot of pages just skip over nurture. Now, what even is nurture? Nurture is essentially where you engage people with your page and you build a relationship with them over time, right? Now, what a lot of pages do is, for example, let's say they sell a digital product. They'll just say, click the link in my bio to get this digital product, and the product will be, let's say, 20 bucks, 25 bucks, and they'll get an insanely low conversion rate where almost nobody buys. And so they'll just, say, oh, digital products don't work or anything, right? Whereas in reality, essentially what they did was they essentially went up to a girl who they've never talked to before, never seen before, and just proposed to her on the spot. Now, obviously, that's not going to work, right? Why is that not going to work? Because you haven't nurtured a relationship with the girl before you go up and to propose to her. Whereas on the other hand, let's say you go up to her, you get her number, you talk to her over time, you build a relationship, take her on a few dates, etc., etc., and then you go and propose to her. There's a much higher chance of her saying yes than if you just went to a girl that you've never even seen or talked to before, right? And so a lot of pages, they just don't understand when they're trying to monetize their page that you need to nurture your audience before you sell to them. And so, like I said, nurturing is essentially just engaging your audience so that you build trust with them, they recognize your page and your brand, and then when you try to promote to them, it's not just going to be out of nowhere, right? So essentially, think about it like this, right? Let's say that every time let's say you have a bucket, right? With your page, you have a bucket, and that bucket, you can fill it. You can fill it with goodwill, right? So every time may, for example, give value to people, whether you're giving some information on your page that's helpful, or you're just making entertaining content or whatever it is, you're filling up this bucket with goodwill, right? Where you're nurturing and you're engaging your audience, they're recognizing your page, they're growing familiar with you, you're filling up this bucket with goodwill. Now, every time that you go and you promote to your page, you try to sell something to them, a digital product, whatever it is, you take away a little bit from this bucket. You take away some from this bucket. The next time you promote, you take away some. Now, the problem is with a lot of pages, they are trying to take away goodwill from an empty bucket. Like I said, you fill up this bucket by nurturing your audience, and then you take away every time you want to sell or promote to them. Now, like I said, a lot of pages, what they do is their bucket, they've never even filled it, and they're trying to take away stuff from an empty bucket, where it's an empty bucket, so there's obviously nothing to take away. I hope that makes sense. And so the best ways that you can nurture and engage an audience, well, the simplest way you can do it is just straight up with stories, right? So why do you have to do stories, right? Why can't you just continue to post your videos? Well, the thing is, when you're posting your videos, people will, see your videos and they'll follow you and stuff. But if you actually look at your videos, if you look at the analytics, you'll see that on mostly all your videos, the views that you're getting on your videos, like 70 to 80% of those views on average for most posts that you make, like 70 to 80% of them will be non-followers. So most of your followers aren't even seeing your posts. They might see your post once, they might follow you, but then they kind of forget about your page. They don't really remember who you are, and then they're just kind of there, right? The next time they see your page and you're trying to promote something, they're like, who is this guy? Like, I've never even seen this page before, don't even recognize the username or the profile picture. Whereas with stories, your stories are pretty much only shown to your followers. They're not shown in the Reels tab or the Explorer tab or anything like that. Your stories are shown to your followers. 99% of your story views are from your followers. So it's the same people seeing it over and over again. And so, like I said, nurturing is re-engaging your followers again and again and again. The best way to do that is with stories. If you just constantly are putting stories up all the time on your page, which I try to put up a story almost every 24 hours, so there's a constant story people can see. Every time they log into Instagram, and Instagram, by the way, if you're consistently posting stories a lot, they'll push you all the way up the front. So your story views will just increase over time. When you're doing that, that's where people actually recognize your page and stuff like that. I think when I say recognize your page, think about it like this. If you saw like ESPN, the ESPN Instagram page, right? You recognize what that is. If I tell you the ESPN page, or I just give you the ESPN username and their logo, you're like, okay, this is a page which posts about sports. They post about these different sports. They have this kind of style when they post, this different format. They post highlights, funny moments, things like that, right? You know that what ESPN is, even though it's not like a person, it's a faceless brand slash page. You know what ESPN is because they have nurtured you so much because they're constantly re-engaging you, right? I don't know if you follow them, but you get the point there, right? And so whenever ESPN, for example, wants to promote something in their bio, like go download our app to go and watch the the NBA finals, or go for our sports betting picks and stuff like whatever it is that they're promoting. I don't really keep up with it, but whatever it is they're promoting, you're going to trust it because you trust the brand, right? You know what the brand is, and so when you when they go to promote something, it actually works for them. They actually make sales and all that stuff because people recognize the brand because they've re-engaged with it so many times that it's just so familiar to them. Like, you know what ESPN is if I tell you what that is, right? And so even though like that page, it doesn't have a face or a name associated with it, you know exactly what it is. And so obviously, it's going to take a lot to get to the level of ESPN, and you're probably not going to get there anytime soon. It's going to take a lot of effort and time to get to that level. But the same principle applies even if you have a much smaller account, just like mine, for example, right? Which is my accounts aren't that big, and so the same principle applies with even smaller accounts. You want to re-engage those followers, and you can do it with stories. You can do it with an automated email sequence. So putting people onto an automated email sequence where you take them through basically like a customer journey. You nurture them, you break their limiting beliefs, you go through all this stuff, and then you eventually sell to them at the end. This is much better than just going straight to a sale. Now you can go straight to a sale on your stories because it's only being shown to nurture followers if you're doing it right. But an automated email sequence also does work quite well. Now this though is I'll tell you this. This is quite complicated if you are going to do this. If you're just going into it as a complete beginner. So I would just start with regular emails first before setting up an email sequence. But these do work very, very well. Now, if you want help with, growing a successful page or monetizing and stuff like that, I have a private community. You get calls with me, a one-on-one call when you join, all that kind of stuff. So you get a lot of calls for support. You get 24/7 access to my DMs where you can message me for help whenever you need it. And best of all, you get in-depth training courses showing you how to do everything, right? And all I say is if you find my videos helpful and in-depth, imagine how much better my community stuff is. So if you're interested, top link in the bio. Enough selling stuff to you though. Let's move on. So concept 2 is trust. Now trust is very important. You need trust. And so to kind of illustrate this point to you, I'll give you an extreme example of what I mean when I say trust. Trust in human psychology, and this applies to your page a lot, so just stick with me. Trust in human psychology is probably the number one most important thing and factor which gets people to do stuff, right? So I'll give you an example of two exactly same scenarios, but the trust is changed, and just listen to how different you react to them. Okay, let's say, for example, that tonight your mom comes to you and she's like, yo, Jonathan, whatever your name is, could I borrow your credit card? I need $10. You'd be like, oh yeah, here, mom, here's my card, $10, whatever. It's not a big deal. And she's just gonna take the $10 and give you your card back. Now, let's say some random person on the street comes up to you, says the exact same words, same exact stuff, right? Same exact words, same exact demeanor, everything's the same. But it's some random person on the street, and they say, yo, I need $10. Could I have your credit card real quick? I'll give it back to you in 20 minutes. Obviously you're going to say no, right? Now, what's the difference there? Because the actions were the exact same. They both said the exact same thing. They asked for the exact same request, prompted the same action from you. It was all the same. The only thing was that you trust your mom. You don't trust this random person on the street with your credit card, right? And so this is where a lot of pages, they'll do something like they'll do, for example, a promotional story, and they'll do like a digital product or something, or they'll do a newsletter or whatever it is, and they're just like, man, nobody's signing up, nobody's buying, none of this, and they're like, they're so obsessively focusing over like, I need to change my digital product, I need to restructure my sales page, I need to do this and this and this and change all this stuff. It's all wrong. I need to redo it. When actually a lot of the time, what you're doing isn't actually like the wrong thing. You just need to put yourself in that position of trust. Like I said, what your mom said and what this random person on the street said was the exact same thing. They said the exact same thing. It's just that you trusted this person, you didn't trust this person. So a lot of the time, what you're missing is not necessarily that you're doing the wrong thing. It's just that your followers don't trust you or whatever you're promoting them to them enough. Now, when it comes to trust, there's a load of like different psychological aspects and different things within just trust. And so it's a lot more just complicated than just the word like, oh, people just need to trust you. But to break it down into 3 simple concepts, and I'll give you some examples so you can understand this. You need 3 aspects of trust. To get these people to actually do something, specifically with like online marketing and doing this with the Faceless page. You need 1, people to trust in the idea. You need people to trust you, and then you need people to trust your unique mechanism. Now, people trusting your unique mechanism is not like 100% required, but it's very, very helpful if you get it right. So let me give you an example of what this would look like so you can actually understand. I'll give you 2 examples. So first example, let's say that I am selling you a weight loss program, right? Like a program on how to lose weight. Well, first, you would need trust in the idea, right? So before I even sell you the weight loss program, you need to trust that you actually need to lose weight. Like if I come here to you and I say, hey, you need to lose weight, man. You're like, okay, do I actually need to? Should I lose weight? Is my physique that bad? so I need to make you actually trust that, right? And so this is where I'd say, like, I'd just be focusing on making you trust in the idea. Like, you need to lose weight because if you don't lose weight, your cholesterol is going to go high. You have a high risk of heart attack. You're not going to be able to move properly when you're older. You're going to get all these diseases, et cetera, et cetera. I need to first get you to trusting the idea that you even need to lose weight, right? Because if you don't trust the idea, who cares about the rest, right? Like, if you're not going to do it anyways, who cares about you trusting me or how I'm going to get you there, right? Then once you get them to trust in the idea, so first the idea would be like, I'm going to get you to trust that you need to lose weight. Then I need you to trust in me, right? Or the person selling or the brand selling. Your Faceless page would be the brand. And so let's say I was trying to sell you the weight loss program, but then you looked at me. I was 50 pounds overweight. I didn't have a six pack. I looked so out of shape. Would you ever buy from me? It does not matter how good my program is or how well I put it together. It could be the best weight loss program in the world, verified by hundreds of scientists and doctors and all this stuff. If I'm out of shape, you're not going to buy it. Right? Because it's like, dude, why would I trust you if you're trying to help me lose weight and you're not even in shape yourself? Right? And then the third one, not 100% necessary, but this is very useful and it really helps a lot, is the unique mechanism. Right? So the unique mechanism is like, okay, I'm going to help you lose weight with a carnivore diet, or I'm going to help you lose weight with this specific workout routine, or I'm going to help you lose weight with the vegetarian diet, or how am I going to help you lose the weight? Right? And so, like, the idea would be losing the weight. Trust would be you trusting me that I actually know what I'm talking about, and I'm just an honest person that you could trust. And then unique mechanism is like how I'm actually gonna get you there. I'll give you another example so that it makes sense, because it's really, really important. Another example, right? Let's say, for example, Iman Gadzhi was selling a course, right? Another one of his crappy courses, right? Don't even get me started on Iman Gadzhi, because a lot of you guys always say in the comments like, oh, why do you hate on Iman Gadzhi? One, he's lied about so much stuff. His agency, that's public records. He's been publicly exposed for that with tax documents and stuff. Lied about how much his agency's done. Throws together crappy courses and sells them. Never gives value in his videos. I mean, dude, literally, I don't know if you guys saw this, but he did a recent launch in a little bit off topic rant, but he did a recent launch with like his recent event he did, and at the end of it, the whole event, he's saying like, "Oh, I'm not going to sell you anything in this event. This event's going to be different. I'm not going to sell you anything." At the end, he's, "Oh, and by the way, guys, I don't have a course to sell you, but if you want my $1,500 software, then you can buy that." And I have nothing against selling stuff, but he got exposed recently. Big video about this by Ryan Duncan. You can search it, where he essentially took like a ChatGPT model, just remade it with like the logo and redesigned some simple coding in it, which is like basically just remade a ChatGPT template and sold it for $1,500, and they got exposed for it. Or you could set it up yourself for 10 minutes for free. But enough of that, right? Iman Gadzhi is good at selling courses, right? So I'll explain to you how he does it when it comes to the trust thing. So first of all, he gets you to trust in the idea that, okay, you need to learn how to make money online, because there's a digital arbitrage, and there's like this special opportunity to make money online this year, and there's all this stuff. Andrew Tate, for example, he's like, you need to make money online because you need to escape the matrix. You need to get people to trust in the idea. Then you need people to trust in you. So it's like, oh, look, I have a Rolls Royce, I have a Lamborghini, I have this $500,000 watch. These are all my results I've got with making money online. You can actually trust me. I know I've actually gotten results for myself and stuff. And then the unique mechanism. So Iman Gadzhi might try to sell you whatever he tries to sell you next, because that's all he's ever doing. Okay, I'm gonna sell you. You can make money with an SMMA agency, or you can make money with a personal brand, or you can make money selling products on this platform, or like whatever it is that he's selling as a unique mechanism. That's how you do the trust aspect of it, right? So trust is incredibly important. Like I said, if you're trying to sell stuff or trying to monetize your page and it's not working, don't try and just restructure the whole program first. Just, or whatever you're selling, think like, first, do people even trust like the brand and the page and stuff like that enough to buy? Because that's a big reason. So this is an example on the trust one. So like I said, I sell a lot of digital products on my page just by story sequences. So I'll throw up a story sequence of like 3 or 4 slides, drive 1,000 visitors to the site or something, get a couple sales, make a decent amount from that. It's not like crazy what you'll make from here, but it's a pretty good amount. So with these, right? So this is out of order, by the way. This middle one, I believe, was the first one. This was an old one I did. I just found it on my phone. But this one here was the first one. So first, you can see I'm convinced of people of the idea, and I'm getting them to trust in the idea. So I'm telling them, like, it doesn't require any money to start. You can do this from any country. You can do this with zero experience, so that they actually trust in the idea. And then I'm getting them to trust a little bit in me. So I'm like, okay, look, I've actually got 270K followers. I'm a legit person, legit results and stuff. And then I just say, final call to action. You've seen other people see success. Now it's your turn. And then I tell them to click here. Now the unique mechanism, I do that on the actual sales page of the digital product that I'm selling. And so that's trust. Next is newsletters. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, I really appreciate if you just subscribe, turn on notifications. It helps me out, and the next video is going to be a banger. You do not want to miss that. So newsletters, when it comes to newsletters, right? Newsletters, they can work very, very well. And when it just comes to emails in general, like whether you're doing regular weekly emails, whether you're doing an email sequence to sell people, whether you're doing sponsorships on your emails, like whatever it is, emails are king in business. And don't just take my word for this. This is what Alex Hormozy says. This is what like so many other like very like guys which I respect and I look up to a lot, like Alex Hormozy, for example, say. Like Alex Hormozy, for example, he said with his emails that he has a 46x return on investment, right? So he puts $1,000 into emails, his email campaigns and different stuff like that. He'll make back $46,000. Do you understand how insane that is? You put $1,000 in, you make back $46,000. It's just absolutely insane numbers that you can hit with emails. And there's a reason that every single business out there does emails. You name it, whether it's like some online course selling business, whether it's a McDonald's or a restaurant business, whether it's Nike and Adidas, like a clothes wearing business, whether it's Home Depot or Walmart, you know, like an in-person business like that. Like every business out there that you can think of, they have some form of emails, like where you can sign up to their email newsletter or you can receive email updates from them, like whatever it is, they'll be sending out emails in one way or another. Like Walmart, like the top 15 deals at Walmart this week, or Apple will be like, we just released this new thing. Like these businesses are all using emails. So just in general, you need to understand emails are very valuable if you can pull them off, right? And email newsletters, because there's so many avenues of monetization, and also you can build a ton of trust over emails. So they're very, very valuable when it comes to emails. And this is just for example. So this was back when I was a complete beginner. I didn't even really understand how to monetize like emails very well. But this was in, I think this was in my second month. Don't quote me on that because I might have the details wrong. It was quite a while ago. But this was in just my second month. I did like 9K in 1 week, basically 10K. And then I also had another 7,000 in pending revenue. I'll literally show you guys. This was in my email here. This was, I still keep this as a kind of like a trophy or a memoir or whatever you'd like to call it. But this is my first ever week, right, with doing emails. I made 5K. And then, you know, that same week with a sponsorship ad post, I made another $1,500. I made 6,000 in my first week of doing emails. That's how powerful they are if you do them correctly. So I currently do that on one of my pages, but I'm trying to focus more on the digital products because, to be honest, if you figure out the digital products, they're more complicated and harder to do, but if you figure them out, they do work better in terms of monetization from what I've seen. So the fourth thing is market research with your page. By the way, drop a like on the video. So with market research, a lot of people, when they go about monetizing their page, they don't give enough, and I used to make the same mistake, by the way. I'm not trying to like preach or anything here, but they make this mistake of not really just don't consider really what they're doing, right? They don't give enough thought or enough thought process to it. They rush too much. Like, I'm just going to do this digital product. I'm going to do this one. I'm going to do this one. I know this because I've had hundreds of pages who reached out to me for help and stuff like that. So I know, like, not just from what I've done, but from what hundreds of other big pages have done as well. And they just rush too much. I'm like, you know, I'll ask a page. They'll reach out to me on Instagram or something. I'll be like, yo, Mark, I need help monetizing my page. I'm not getting sales in my digital product or something like that. And, you know, the first thing I'll ask is I'll just be like, okay, like what made you do this digital product? What made you think this is even going to be successful, right? And they're just like, oh, I just, you know, I thought it would go well with my page, right? They don't even really consider or like, okay, what is the offer here? You know, am I going to upsell people after? Does my page actually want this? Are they interested in this? Is this going to be something which is going to be valuable enough according to the price for people, even just the niche in general? And so they just don't consider the market research enough of it, of what you're going to do with your page. And so one of the best ways to do this is just to listen to your audience. Your audience will literally tell you what they want. And stories, it's so easy to figure this out. So you could literally just put up stories with polls and question boxes and stuff and just ask people what they want. Ask people what you think they should do. Like Alex Hormozy, for example, he did this when he was writing his book, right? He literally, like, you know, and he was writing his book, right? And he has this story where he was writing his book and it was his second book. So his, you know, he has like a huge team who helps him out and stuff. And they were all trying to come up with all these advanced, fancy market research things. And they're trying to look through like, we need to use this kind of title, or maybe this title will work better. Should I do this? Should I do that? And Hormozy was just like, dude, put it up on my story. Here's one title I'm thinking of to name my book. Here's another one. Which one do you guys like more? Simple as that, right? And he did like, it was a little bit more than that. He did like multiple polls and stuff. You could search it up on Safari or YouTube. I think he has a video about that. But he great guy, by the way, Hormozy. So I got that from him. I was like, dude, all I need to do is just put it up on my story. People literally tell me what they want. If I'm trying to sell a digital product, for example, let's say I'll go on my story, I'll put up a question box, and I'll be like, okay, what are you guys interested in learning about, right? Let's say I did it on my gym page, for example. I was like, what are you guys interested in learning about? And so I get some replies where people are like, oh, I want to learn how to get leaner. Oh, I want to learn how to grow my biceps. I want to learn how to get a six pack, et cetera, whatever it is. So I'll look through the most popular ones. Are these good ideas? Okay, I'll put up another story. I'll say, okay, you guys said that you wanted this, and this. Okay, I want you guys to vote. Which one do you want the most? Do you want a guide on how to get lean? Do you want a guide on how to get a six pack? Do you want a guide on how to, you know, work out your biceps? Whatever it is, right? Just put it on the story and let those people decide. Because if they're literally saying this is what I want, it's as simple as that. There's no need to overcomplicate this, right? You don't need to go through this whole fancy stuff of market research and understanding your audience and all that really vague stuff, which is great to do, by the way. It's great to understand your ICP and your ideal customer profile and different things like that. But ideally, just keep it simple with what you're putting up on your stories, right? And just do some market research before you launch anything or before you try to sell or promote anything that you're going to do, right? So hope you found this video useful. Now, if you want another video to watch, I'll put up a really good video that you can watch somewhere here on the screen. You can just click that, or if you want to join the private community, it's the top link in the bio. So yeah, you can click on one of those. And yeah, if not, I'll see you later.